Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be for you. This is a new series for the channel, DayZ Intenz Beginner Guide. It's more of a starting off in XYZ spawn. We're going to try and go through as many spawns as we can in this series. And I want to talk through in detail what I do at the start of a DayZ Intenz life. What do I prioritize, in what order, and why? For the purposes of the series, I'm going to have to assume you know a little bit about DayZ Intenz. You might be pretty brand new to the server, you like hardcore servers, you've heard about it, you want to try and give it a go yourself. But if I tried to explain everything that this server does compared to vanilla DayZ, it would be like a 6-hour video. So I'm going to put in the description a link to the DayZ Intenz Discord. And I would specifically recommend you looking at the medical guide, because it's the medical mod, the Siberia project, that is very specific to DayZ Intenz. You need to know that you're going to get messed up on this server. If you fight zombies the wrong way, you just get unlucky, get shot by another player, stabbed up by another player. You've got to know how to deal with each injury, each illness, what medicines do what. And like I said, I wouldn't have long enough in an hour video, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever this is going to be. So I would recommend looking at the Discord, particularly the medical guide. And if you're brand new, why not have the medical guide up on a second monitor, on a second device while you're playing and while you get familiar with the medicines. So you're going to get put into this when you create your first character or a new character. You've got to allocate some skill points. I'm just going to do something very generic. Very, very generic. You can mess around with this, play around with it yourself. What happens if I put all 30 points in survival, all 30 points in medicine? But for now, we're just going to do something very simple. And we're just going to call our character Joe Blogs. Okay? I don't know where we're going to spawn. So let's see what it gives us. And while we're spawning in, while we're waiting to see what spawn we get, I want to say thank you first of all for checking out the video. I hope you enjoy these loot runs, these guides. We've been streaming pretty regular on the channel. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 AM British time to 2 PM British time. And why not drop a sub, especially if you're a fan of hardcore DayZ, but we do mix things up on the channel. Drop a like on the video, it really helps the algorithm. And let's get into it. What's my first priority? Figuring out where I've spawned. Okay, we'll let everything render in. I haven't played on this US server for a long time. I can tell immediately I'm in Zvetlo. I'm going to assume you've come over to DayZ Intenz from vanilla, official gameplay. Maybe community vanilla servers, whatever you used to play in. You obviously need to know, you need to figure out immediately where you are. Now, while that helps with any version of DayZ, obviously knowing where you are, it particularly helps on Intenz because you are going to need to know where your medical facility is, where your hospital is, the nearest one, pretty damn quick. Because, as I say, medicinal supplies are going to be your best friend on this server. Second priority, making sure I've got a melee weapon. You do not want to fight zombies hand to hand in this version of DayZ. You will get messed up very quickly. You can do it. If you can isolate a zombie one-on-one, of course you can win the fight without taking masses of amounts of damage, but since I think it was the 1.21 update and they messed around with the blocking mechanism, even if you fight a zombie correctly on Intenz, i.e. you block when they attack, then you hit them, you still can get messed up with concussions, pain, cuts that could become infected with sepsis, even if you're fighting them correctly. So, massive tip number one, when you've just spawned in, do not take on zombies. Especially don't take on multiple zombies at the same time. So that's why I've grabbed myself a long stick. It might seem farcical. What the hell is a long stick going to do? it's going to pretty much save your life if you have to fight a zombie. And I'm glad it's picked Svetlo for the first spawn, because it's probably one of the hardest ones to get going from, to get a good start. And what are we looking for in the first hour when we spawn in to DayZ? We're looking for enough gear so that we're comfortable to move inland, move forward in our adventure. Now, of course, however well we play, however correct we feel our decisions are that we make, you can't count against another player just coming up and shooting you in the back of the head. So that could happen. It happens to the best of us. But can we at least do everything in our power to make sure our dude survives, gets the gear he needs, and can carry on? I figured out where I am. I know Svetlo quite well, so I know the medical is over near the PD. I know where the well is. What else do I need in Intenz, though? Your inventory space is dramatically reduced. You need a lot of inventory space because you are going to need to carry, in particular, a lot of medical supplies with you. I'm assuming now that you've read up on the Discord and you understand that food is in short supply. Fishing is going to be your friend on DayZ Intenz. So we're going to need rope, we're going to need bones or genuine hooks. We're going to need blades. And we're going to need better clothing, which has more capacity for our inventory. And we're going to need a bag. Ideally, ASAP. You've got a couple of options here in Svetlo. Do we go straight for the train tracks and then go to the military and go out of town? I'm going to stick to what 9 out of 10 people would do. And that's stick around town. Okay, looking for supplies here. I'm really carefully trying to map out my path of least resistance when it comes to the Zeds. Look what would have happened if I'd have just walked down the dock area. We'd have been walking into 4 or 5, 6 of the buggers straight off the rip. I'm going to get into the first sort of safe place, inverted commas, safe. You're never safe in DayZ. Let's crouch walk so we don't aggro any Zeds. So let's get up into these rafters. Make sure there's nothing really handy up here. Always check the inventory of stuff. Has it got more capacity than what I'm wearing at the moment? If you're playing a winter version of this server, you're going to want to prioritize insulation, but we're not. So we're just looking at capacity. Press O, and you're going to want to activate these early perks as quick as possible. You can pause the video here, see what I choose. It's completely up to you what you choose, but make sure you don't go walking around for half an hour, like I've done, without activating these perks, because they're going to really help you. Some more than others. We'll do Strongman. I can hear a zombie outside. Bouncy. Power of Quick Strikes is pretty good early doors. Silent Steps. Cold-blooded. You're not going to shiver as much. Dexterous Fingers. Fitting of equipment, keeping you more silent. Lighting a fire is going to be your friend. Because this is not like vanilla DayZ, where you can just get a hand drill kit. You need to be level 30 survival before you can actually make and use a hand drill kit. So when you find the odd match, being able to successfully start a fire is huge. Butcher skills determines how much meat we'll get when we cut up an animal or a fish. But they're activated now. Food, a melee weapon. Constantly it's going around my head. Better inventory. Oh, we missed some medication over there. And I can see already, because I've played this a lot, that over there is an ointment, we'll call it. And it will help us to recover from hematomas. When you get smacked up by the Zeds, whether you're blocking or not, you're going to get hematomas. Now this, if you apply it to the skin, will help you recover and get rid of those bruises quicker. And you want that to happen because if you go over 4 hematomas, you get 5 or more, you're going to start losing health until those bruises go down to you having 4 or less again. But it's constantly spinning around in my head now. I want a melee weapon, not even a gun, a melee weapon for the Zeds. Blade, more inventory space, food. And I'm eventually going to head for the hospital for medical supplies. When it comes to the food, if you're lucky to find food, 9 times out of 10, if you find a can of beans, tuna, whatever, it's probably going to be rotten. It's already going to be open, and in the description it will tell you this food smells a bit funny. As soon as you start eating that food, you will get food poisoning or a stomach ache. So if you haven't got the necessary medication to get rid of that stomach pain, your character will throw up, you'll start getting dehydrated, starving quicker. And obviously that's not a good thing. If you can't find medication and you start starving, you may have to nibble at that food, but I mean nibble. 1 or 2 bites just to keep your food and hydration arrows going up temporarily. On this server, if you hit red, sleep, hydration, or food, red apple, you will start walking as if you have red health, even if you have full health. So you do not want to be starving or dying of thirst on this server. I'm creeping, I'm crouch walking, I may be looking like I'm going overly cautious, but I can't stress to you enough, the risk of repeating myself over and over again, you do not want to be sprinting around big towns like Svetlelo. If you've done your homework, or you're already familiar with Intenz, you'll know you can't trap zombies in Intenz. They will kick the door down. They will follow you into buildings. And you'll also know they're very, very tough to take down unless you have a very good melee weapon. For the purposes of, recording, if we do run into a player, we're going to be friendly. Try to be friendly. And then we're going to try and go on our own way. We're obviously not looking to team up, but that would be completely up to you if you were playing your own game, of course. You can see already I've picked up the shorts. I don't care what condition they're in. They immediately give me more capacity than what we were wearing. I think it was 3 more slots. So we picked them up without hesitation. Check the next building. Always going to, well, I say always, very likely going to be looted these because they're right next to the spawn area. But I know the usual path I like to take. There are safer paths to the PD and the medical. But as a more experienced DayZ player, particularly on this server, I'm going to take my chance and basically go up to the main street of Svetlelo. I'm going to wait for my stamina to build back up so I can jump over this fence. I don't have to go around up the main road. Keeping an eye on the spawn areas in case another player is creeping up on us. As soon as I get over this fence, I'm back into crouch mode. You can sort of duck walk quickly, but you don't want to be sprinting or even walking while standing upright, making more noise, unless you physically have to. It looks like we've got a little bit lucky in terms of the Zeds in this area. I'm just scanning up ahead, and it looks like we're going to be able to loot this mustache in peace. Again, I'm not too bothered about insulation, but I'm going to put the beanie on. It won't do me any harm. If I found an enduro helmet, I'd be putting that on, because it really helps when you take a blow or two from the Zeds, concussion, pain. It's not going to guarantee you stay away from picking up pain or concussion. But you're going to want to pick up things like helmets. Maybe not motorcycle helmets. But if that's your thing, pick it up by all means. But if you don't pick something up on a vanilla server, doesn't mean you're not going to want to pick it up on this one. Now, this area is normally rammed with Zeds. Today, it doesn't look shocking. It's not great. But I'm already now, in my head, planning the path of least resistance. If I have to fight Zeds, I want to take them on one at a time, maximum. Okay? I'm not going to go crazy with the looting. I'm only going to go in the buildings that I know from experience tend to potentially drop me the supplies I'm going to need. And look at this. This is a massive win, early doors, finding a cooking pot just in the middle of the street for some reason. I'm going to put some of my gear in the cooking pot. we're going to be able to drink out of this cooking pot now. And it's going to stop us getting sepsis. So again, I'm going to assume you know a little bit about Intenz, but if you eat or drink with your bare hands, you have a chance of getting sick, very sick. If you drink with gloves, improvised hand wraps, less of a chance. If you drink from a well or purified water with chlorine tablets out of a drinking vessel, like a cooking pot or a water bottle, very, very slim chance of you getting sick. So that cooking pot is huge. It's not as good as a melee weapon. A good melee weapon would have been even better. We haven't got a blade, so we can't even cut up rags to make hand wraps yet. So we're going to keep on crawling. Now look how much I've slowed my normal, I'm guessing your normal pace of how you play DayZ down, particularly for Svetlo. My stealth has already gone up to level 5 because I've been crouch walking pretty much the entire time. Just dipping in here to see if I could find some food. It's not looking good. You can find ammunition in these apartments. And now I've got a decision to make, right? Is it looking good to go over there? Probably not. Is it looking good to go down this street? Probably not. So I'm backing out of it before it's too late, before I've aggroed the zombies. I'm looking to the rear. I don't want to injure myself jumping off too high a ledge, but I know from experience this one's fine. Okay, you've got to get a lot of patience in you early doors if you want to survive DayZ Intenz. We saw the main town square was absolutely bouncing with Zeds. So we're avoiding it. I can see a Z up here between the fence. And it may come to the point soon where I have to bite the bullet and fight my first Z. And like I say, I've only got the long stick. So I really, really, really desperately only want to fight one Z at a time. So let's try and get eyes on the situation before it's too late. I think we're okay to aggro this one Z. Here he comes, okay? Get my... I missed that one. Another power attack. As I'm fighting him, I'm drawing him away from other Zeds. Blocking. 100% you've got to be with your blocks. We've aggroed another one. Oh shit, now we're in trouble. Now we're in huge trouble. This is your worst nightmare on DayZ Intenz. Worst nightmare. Okay? So this is what we got to do. They're going to open that door. I'm trying to gain precious seconds to regenerate my stamina. Because when I regenerate my stamina, I can go in with the power attacks again. There's another option here. It's risky. Go pro. If you're very, very lucky like I just was, and they don't immediately kick the door down, they may de-aggro. See, I've picked up 3 bruises. You can see next to my mental state icon. They're going for the door. They may be just running into the door of the next garage. If I pick up 2 more bruises, I will start losing health. So again, not panicking and being patient is my friend. I can hear them aggroing. Could be on another player. I'm not speaking in VoIP in game, so it's definitely not my voice aggroing them. This is unfortunate, but this is what you've got to deal with in Intenz. Despite preaching patience, that's something I haven't got a lot of. So I open the door and I take a look. I can hear one to my right. I don't know where the original guy is that I fought. There is a car there. So if we get in big trouble now, we can get up on the car. There's the original dude we fought, pretty sure. Now I want to get his attention. I stood up on purpose. He's already weak, right? We hit him plenty of times. Great chance of him going down quick. That's what happened. We don't want to search the Zeds. We've got no gloves on. We will get bloody hands from searching the Zeds. You can't just walk over on Intenz, hit tab, and look what loot they have. You have to physically search them with nothing in your hands. Nothing in the car that we could use. I think we're going to have to fight this Zed, are we? Maybe. Maybe not. Cars are going to be your friends, though. If you get in a situation like I just did, and lying down, going prone, didn't work, get up on the car, get out of their range, deal with them. It'll take a long time. You'll expose yourself to other players, potentially sniping you. But it would have to be done. I know the PD and the hospital is over there. And the hospital, the medical centre, whatever you want to call it, is my #1 goal. Even though my food's going down all the time, water, we haven't eaten or drank anything, we can recover from that. You can't recover from certain illnesses and injuries in this game. In this server, sorry. Again, I'm scanning ahead. I'm zooming in with my vision, field of view, middle mouse wheel, and I'm looking. Path of least resistance. Looks okay around the back here. We're going to want to check this shed in the middle, just in case we can get something better than this long stick. Looks like we're going to get in there pretty comfortably. We actually find a gun. If we can play Tetris a little bit, we can fit that gun in. Okay, and we can put the cooking pot in our hands. Actually, let's first of all chamber around. Looks like we've got a couple of shots for this Makarov. And with the cooking pot in our hand, it will now allow us to hotkey the Makarov. So at least we can protect ourselves against another player. A couple of shots. And there we go, bingo. I can't tell you. First of all, jumpsuit jacket, amazing. Look at the extra slots we've got, and then here we go, bingo, rucksack. Okay, and on DayZ Intenz, you can't see what is in your rucksack unless your rucksack is in your hands or it's in the ground next to you. But that's huge. Very, very glad I checked that shed. We got a gun out of it. We got a jacket, which gave us a lot more inventory space. And we got the rucksack. Now, there's the PD. Down that alleyway and to the left is the medical centre. If you're lucky enough to know the map, Chinaris, as well as I do, you already knew that. And again, tempting to go for these little taco stalls for food, potentially. But what am I going to do with that food? If I eat it, I'm going to get sick. It's probably going to be opened, rotten food. I'd rather have the medication to counteract the ill effects of the food poisoning. I'd rather have that on me already when I find some rotten food. I can then eat it as long as I've got enough tablets, say 3 or 4 tablets per can of food. Then I can eat almost indiscriminately as much rotten food as I like. We want to aim eventually to be hunting, fishing, finding nothing but good food. But at the beginning of your life, beggars can't be choosers. Alright, the path to the hospital looks pretty clear. Okay, we've got a Z down there, a medical Z. If I had gloves, I'd like to kill and search that medical Z, but we still haven't got any gloves, improvised or real. I'm checking sheds. I'm trying to get myself a decent melee weapon. This is going to be better than this stick. And we've got a hammer. It's damaged, but oh my god, is it an upgrade on the stick. Massive. Okay, that's huge. You can also use that to mine boulders, which you can then turn into small stones, which can help you make stone knives. But we're going to use it predominantly as a melee weapon now. We're going to have to deal with this zombie. No two ways about it. So while there's no other zombies that we can see in the vicinity, we're going to suck it up. We're going to suck it up. I'm going to deal with it. We want this zombie to run at us. And if you time it correctly, you get a big strike in, a second one, third one. Bit of a beast, this one. There you go. Didn't hit me once. I'm immediately crouching. In case there's a nearby Z. I don't want to search it, though. I don't want bloody hands. Oh, there's another Z down there. Another medical one. I forgot to look at my perks. I have seen my stealth go up. It is a risk in the middle of the street, but I'll quickly tab. I know it was stealth. I can now do dead or alive. The Zs are less likely to focus in on me. Only by 5%, but any chance of not aggroing a Z is a win in my standards, by my standards. Here we go. Medical. Like I said, medicine is your friend. You'll get to the point where you'll know what things do. Epinephrine is an EpiPen, basically, but it's injectable through a syringe. I think I dropped the IV start kit, but we'll take that anyway. I know what the medicines do, so I'm being picky and choosy about what I pick up, what I don't pick up. It might take you more time when you're new to this server. You might want to pick up everything, especially if you've got a bag, like I have. You might pick up everything, go into an apartment, bring up the Intenz Discord, and look through the medical guide, and then sort out, oh, do I actually need this medicine or not? Tardiferon. Pretty sure Tardiferon is for stomachache, but we'll come back to that. Even I don't know them all off by heart. Airtal is for pain medication. So if we get a slap from a zombie and we get blurred vision, which you will do. And here's another big win. A large first aid kit, right? So we can put our medication, anything that's deemed to be a medical supply, you can put it in this kit. 45 slots, but it will only take up, what, 16 slots in your backpack? Yeah. A magic first aid kit. Beautiful. More epinephrine. Maltofer, I think, is level 3 pain medication. I'm not going to pick it up for now. Movalis, I think, is pain medication as well. We will put it in our first aid kit eventually. Imepinem, I think, is antisepsis medication, but I'm going off the top of my head. If you guys are new to the server, you want to make sure what you're picking up is useful and what it is used for. Like I say, play along with the second monitor. We know what tetracycline does, and I think Nisa is anti-pain medication as well. So we're pretty sorted for pain, but I don't actually think we've found anything yet that will help us with food poisoning. There are a couple of other medical spawns in this area, though. If you know Svetlana well, you probably already know this. Shit, there's a Z in that bush, hiding. So let's skip around. And I know medical supplies spawn in that house and also in that house. So we're going to loot them as well. Don't overlook them. We've been heard by a Z. So I'm getting my melee weapon out ready. I think it already was. 1 tablet of Iravit. I think that is a blood regenerative medication. So it helps if you were to be bleeding or you have bled. You want to regen your blood. Force it to clot. And we got some gloves. Okay, they're not, they're pristine and they're already disinfected. So this is great. We could eat now. We can search Zeds, see if they drop medical supplies. More Tardifferon. While we're in here, we'll take this opportunity to put our medical supplies in the kit, leaving space in our rucksack for other things. It's a habit you want to get into, especially if you're lucky enough to find a first aid box like that. Quick scan of the room. I think we're done for medical supplies in here. What we can do now, though, is we can search the medical Zeds. Remember we killed one over there. There are a couple more knocking about. I can hear them. And they are very likely to drop things like syringes, bandages, pills, medication. So again, if it's safe to do so only, and you have a good melee weapon, by all means take out the medical Zeds. Take out the police Zeds. The Zeds that you know drop specifics. Now, if someone is very, very decent, and they have done this, be sure to jump onto the Discord and say, whoever planted the pumpkins in Zvetlo, will you take my hand in marriage? Because they've possibly just saved your life. Even if you don't find food poisoning medication, let's call it, you've now got clean pumpkins, particularly if you've got a bag. And I'm pretty sure you can prepare pumpkins with a hammer, but we're still going to keep an eye out for a blade. Sewing kit's huge as well. I'm not going to carry that face mask. If it was winter, I would pick up that scarf. But on this server, you have to remove face coverings before you're able to eat or take medication, and it just personally gets on my nerves. So if we're on a spring or summer season, I tend not to wear them. I'm going to drop the stick for a minute. We will get more nutrition if we cook the pumpkins, but I'm making a mental note now. Around by the medical centre, there are 2 greenhouses full of the good stuff, full of pumpkins, and God bless the person who did that. They've probably saved a lot of lives on this server since doing so. Let's check this house, which can spawn medical supplies and also, there we go, more ammo for our IJ, our Makarov, whatever you want to call it. Not great though. More gloves? Why not? We'll take a spare pair of gloves. They're not disinfected, but they'll keep our hands clean if we want to kill and search the medical Zeds. I'm not going out of my way to look for them. Look, this one's wandered in over there looking for me. But I know there's one already dead ahead, so I'm just going to search this one up here. And then I want to go in that mustache. I want to loot it, but I also want to see if my theory is right about the pumpkins. The fact that you can prepare them with a hammer. Pretty sure you can. So this is how you search the Zeds. Just hold left trigger when you get the prompt. You'll go through the animation. It's pretty quick, but you're obviously putting yourself at risk being shot in a big town like this. And they've dropped medication, paracetamol, which helps against pain, colds and flu. Level 1 colds, I believe. But it was worth it. It was worth searching them. Let's close the door behind us. Have we got anything in here that will help us? Doesn't look like it. Upstairs. Less capacity in that P code, so I'm not taking it. Less inventory space. We're just going to check my theory on pumpkins. Can you smash them open? You can. You're probably going to lose a bit of the pumpkin flesh by not using a kitchen knife, hunting knife, etc. Beggars can't be choosers. This is the first thing we're going to eat. We're eating it with disinfected gloves, disinfected hands. But any sort of gloves, even improvised hand wraps, even if they were badly damaged, should keep you away from trouble, i.e. getting bad food poisoning or sepsis from eating the pumpkins. I'm just going to eat 2 slices for now. But again, I'm always keeping an eye on that yellow apple. If that drops in the red, we start limping badly. It's painfully slow. You really want to try to not get in that predicament. I mean, we could loot the PD. We could eat what we've got. and then we could go back for more because there were plenty of pumpkins. It seems tedious. It seems a bit monotonous. But if you want this first life to go well, you got to be prepared. Fail to prepare, you better be prepared to fail. Because you will on this server. I don't care if you've got 5,000 hours in vanilla DayZ. If you don't slow your gameplay down, think through every decision and what the consequences of that decision might be, you're going to be in big trouble. As I nearly was over by those garages earlier. I got lucky. Very lucky. But that's what drew me to this server. I played over 1,000 hours on official vanilla. And when I first played this, I got in all sorts of trouble. All sorts of trouble. But having to take a breath, analyze, think through my decisions, that's what got me into this server, really. Dragged me in. Got me addicted to it. And that's why, to this point, it is my favourite server experience on DayZ to this day. So for the purposes of the video, if this was you and you've sat down at your PC, your laptop, and you're thinking, right, I want to play today for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever you do, you might now go back and grab some more pumpkins. Just sit there eating them. Pumpkin after pumpkin. Okay, you might do that. I might have done that. But for the purposes of the video, we're going to move on. But you get the idea. If you wanted to, go back now and harvest as many of those pumpkins as you could before moving on, potentially to the PD, etc. Then by all means, stick around. But for the purposes of keeping this video to around an hour or just under, to show you what I do, first hour of an Intenz spawn when we've got Zbletlo this time. Take them out as well. Keep stuff in the cooking pot that we don't want to potentially get damaged by a bullet. Medical supplies. Medical supplies. Keep them in there. Keep our pot there. Don't want that spare IJ mag. Robert's your father's brother. So I'll reiterate, if you've got the time, you're probably milking those pumpkin patches over there. But for the purposes of this video, let's assume I've taken half an hour to cook the pumpkin. Get the most nutrition out of it as possible. I've eaten as much pumpkin as I can. My hammer is ruined because I've eaten so much pumpkin. But I was also wary of that. If I keep preparing pumpkins with this hammer, I lose my only melee weapon. And approaching this PD, you should be aware you're probably going to come across a lot of Zeds. And that's why I should have kept that long stick. That was a mistake. I've realised my mistake early. So I'm getting another long stick in preparation of my hammer failing us. If my hammer fails, I could fall back on the long stick. It's not great, but it's something. What could I find in these garages? They don't spawn police loot, but they could spawn a melee weapon, and they've actually spawned some arsenic. So if you wanted to be really cruel, you could fill a syringe up with arsenic, and then offer to cure someone. Cure someone of their illness. Well, he would cure them. They wouldn't be ill anymore. They'd be straight back on the coast. But that's another story, maybe for another video, another time. Nothing in here. I'm not going to go over the top. Sometimes there can be several police Zeds in this courtyard, if you like, of the PD. So we'll count ourselves lucky that we've got a pretty clear path, as it seems, to the back door of the PD. Unless this guy decides to play funny buggers. We've activated all our stealth perks, though, so hopefully we can get in. I'm trying to listen out for player activity. Somebody loading weapons. Closing doors, opening doors inside. Both back doors are closed. Plus the front door. We may not be alone. Whoops. And that's DayZ for you, throwing me everywhere. What a start, though. Box of 380. I'm keeping the paper in case we need kindling. But I am not moving another muscle until I load this bad boy up fully. I'm still listening out. Can I hear movement upstairs? Is someone pushing me now because I'm reloading? I'm actually going to keep my gun in my hand. I mean, if we die for this video, if we die during the video, I'll keep it in. That's how we'll end it. That's what can happen in any DayZ. I don't want the taser ammunition. Just listening. Am I alone? I always search this police jackets, this police clothing. There's nothing in them. They could have been. Nothing in here, so we start working our way upstairs. Our footsteps could aggro zombies outside. They're very sensitive. So don't be too alarmed. It doesn't necessarily mean another player's creeping up on you outside, but be prepared to talk, and be prepared to talk quick. My experience, people who play in tens, particularly on the coast, tend to be more willing to talk than on other DayZ servers. They know how hard it is just to get a start, just to survive that first hour or so. Even if they win a gunfight, they know if they take a stray bullet, it's going to be a lot harder to shake it off in Intenz than it is on another server, even if you end up winning the gunfight. But play every situation on its own merits, of course. It's just my experience of the servers. Predominantly EU. I couldn't do the video on EU today because they're still in winter in EU. But look at that. Pristine stab vest. I already feel better for wearing that. Handcuffs. Not planning on it being that type of party today. We've got plenty of ammunition. We've got a bit of 9mm now between that P1 and that, but plenty of ammunition for the Makarov. We could take some rubber slugs if we wanted to. I'm not going to bother. All that ammunition there tells me there's probably no one upstairs, unless they're geared to the teeth and they don't need 380 or 9mm. Then we're in trouble. But we've come out of this PD with a huge win, and I'm going to put my gun away now, because I want to be at least seen to be friendly. But while I'm here, inside, I'm going to eat this bit of pumpkin. I want them arrows for the hydration and the food. I want them constantly going up, well, as long as I can anyway. But remember, you might have hung around those greenhouses, that beige. You might have eaten yourself into the white apple by now. For the purposes of keeping this video as short as possible before we leave Sletlow, I'm just going to move on. But my advice to you would have been, eat up. Dude. Ooh, he looked at me. He looked keen. Here we go. We want him. We want him over. I want him over. I want him in this PD. I want him dealt with. Quick. I'm going to search him. He's a police said. He could have ammunition on him. Could have a magazine on him. A flare. He had a vest on. I didn't even realize he had a vest. Okay, we already got a pristine vest. We didn't need it. But it would have been good if we had needed it. Now I know where the well is. I'm going to assume you know Sletlow. I'm going to assume you know where the well is too. Let's assume as well that I ate myself silly back there. I ate more pumpkins than you can imagine. And as I say, I would have recommended to you, particularly if you knew, that you did the same. And you ate as many pumpkins as you could, particularly if you didn't find, like I didn't find any or much at all in terms of anti-food poisoning medication. Having a Sletlow spawn, if you know Chernarus, actually puts you very close to the northeast airfield, where there will be a chance to get a lot more medical supplies. So don't be too disheartened if you don't find everything you need in that medical behind the PD. Look at this clown. This is one of the biggest tricks in DayZ. They run on the spot, you start walking towards them, you think, oh, this is going to be an easy fight, and then they start coming towards you. The amount of times I've got concussions from those types of Zeds. Now, this well is usually crawling with Zeds. There's a Zed on the roof over there. Somebody's probably glitched that Zed up onto that roof during a fight, a chase. So beware. High traffic area. It isn't elbows up, so it hasn't been aggroed recently. But if I'm being thorough, and I'm showing best practice to you guys, again, I'm planning. This guy's looking at me, probably going to attack. There you go. Get ready. Try and get him with the running hit, because you know he's going to go down in one. These apartments could be your friend. Big time. We've already got a water container, so I'm not taking that. But here you go. First rotten food. You can see in the description. Can of sardines, opened up a long time ago. Strong, foul smell. It actually says the words rotten next to it. Still going to keep it, though. If we're absolutely desperate, well, we've actually hit the white for food. But if we're absolutely desperate, we can nibble on it very slowly. Like 1, 2 bites, stop eating. And it will keep you alive. But you don't want to be chowing down on it until you've found the food poisoning medication, or the anti-food poisoning medication, if you want to call it that. Here comes the rain. It's actually our friend, because it will quieten down, dampen down, pardon the pun, our footsteps. Keep an eye on that. There's a couple of lovely overwatch positions people like to camp for this well. There's another one there, that apartment. But we're going to search these apartments here. Check off the points of interest in your head, though. We hit the medical. We hit the PD. We're going for the well now. And in between, we've picked up whatever we can. We got lucky. We got a bag. Very early doors. We got a big first aid kit, which is going to save us a hell of a lot of inventory space. And here's a bit more rotten food, which could save our life and can be eaten, as I say, indiscriminately if we find the medicine, the pills that deal with the symptoms of the food poisoning to stop us throwing up. You need to have the pill active. You know, when you eat, like when you eat a vitamin, or you eat a tetracycline, you get a pill on your HUD. It's the same for all the medications here. If I were to eat those sardines now, say I had the food poison medication on me, I would take a pill first, wait until that pill symbol is in my HUD, then I would eat the rotten food. And as soon as that pill symbol goes away, you want to pop another pill immediately and keep doing so until you're actually cured of the food poisoning and that yellow symbol has gone away. Thought I heard a zombie aggro on me. We're going to attempt to drink. We've got disinfected hands, and then we realise and remember we've got a cooking pot, like an idiot. So we can drink quicker. Okay, we might get capped at the well. I'm hoping we don't. Just going to drink, just going to move back and drink half a pot, roughly. It's a bit more than half in our pot. Try and keep an eye. If a zombie comes towards us and aggroes, we need to drop this pronto. We're making sure we don't overdrink. If the full stomach symbol comes up, we want to stop drinking immediately. You do not want to throw up. We're going to get away with this, though. We've nearly finished drinking. There you go. Don't put a pot back in your pants if it has any water left in it, because it will empty and then soak said pants. Here we go. I mistimed that completely. Picked up a cut. I'm not going to address the cut, though, because we got another zombie. One to the head. Block. Block. Another to the head. Down. Not going to bother. searching, the zombie. You want to deal with the cut. They're not going to kill you. You're not going to bleed out from a cut or two. See that symbol next to the full stomach? It's gone away now because I just bandaged. But it showed one white cut. As long as the cuts are white, you will not bleed out from them. You'll only bleed out from the red cuts on Intenz. But you have got a chance of getting sepsis if you leave those white cuts untreated. So if you have a way to bandage yourself, just do it. Just get it out the way. See, our hematomas have gone down to 1 now as well. We've only got 1 bruise left. Oh shit. Didn't even see this, dude. Deal with him quickly. Make sure you're not backing into any more Zeds. Don't get lazy with your blocking. There we go. Dealt with. Strength has gone up to 6. I'm just going to duck into this house a second. Oh, I thought we had more plants there as well, man. More veggies. We could have picked up a few on the way out. If you know Zveletlo well, you'll know. Probably going to want to go to the little town up past the gas station where there's another well. There's a hunting shop. Chance to get some more goodies. And then you're pretty much on your way to the northeast airfield, which even though this is a modded server and the airfield looks a lot different to what it would do on vanilla DayZ, it's got lots and lots of medical supplies, so you do want to be heading that way. Let's take my perks as we get them. We don't want to be missing out on any goodies. See, our stealth is already up to 8. I can't remember if we started on 4 or 5, but crouch walking all this time has helped us not only stay alive and not aggro 2, 3, 4 Zeds at a time, despite that one time at the beginning we got very unlucky. But particularly around the PD, areas like that. I'm going to swap that out. I'm going to give myself a bit of protection on the noggin. We're not that worried about insulation. And again, we've got some Vipracil, which also, like this one, helps against bruises or hematomas as they're called here. And with us being 52 minutes into the video, I'll spend the last few minutes leaving town, showing you which way I go. Look at that. Another blade. It's badly damaged, but it's huge. It's another melee weapon, potentially, if the hammer gives up on us. But it's also a way to cut things up. Cut up some rags, cut up a chicken, etc. Now, if you know Zveletlo spawns well, you'll know this gas station can be good for finding food. If you're feeling really confident and you're really proficient at killing Zeds, particularly the Zeds on this server, you've got a decent melee weapon or 2. It might be worth, depending how well or how badly you did when you were looting up Zveletlo, you can sort of harvest the Zeds here. I would avoid cans of unknown on this server. Even if you have the right medication, they tend to get you very sick. So I would avoid them at all costs. But yeah, you can farm the Zeds. There doesn't seem to be that many here. Maybe the person who was in front of us came this way. You'd normally get 4 or 5 Zeds in this gas station. So I'm on alert. I can see that one. I can see that one. I'm just going to avoid them. For the purposes of the video, I want to get up to the next... Oh, there's Granny over there. I want to get up to the next village to show you where I would go, and so that we can officially say we got out of the spawn town. And okay, if it takes you 2 hours, it takes you 2 hours. We've been a bit lucky. We had people planting pumpkins for us. We found a bag pretty early. We found a gun. We found a nice hammer that has helped deal with the Zeds very efficiently, like that. So you're going to get days, you're going to get runs and starts where you don't get as lucky as that. But you also make your own luck, and I hope you can see through this series that when it seems like I've got out of a tricky predicament, there were actions that I took, like lying down in that garage, closing the door behind me, lying down prone, being patient, edging my way out, making sure I aggroed that zombie that we'd already hit 6 or 7 times because I knew he was going to drop quick, identifying the car that we're going to jump on if we get in real bad shape and we get another 2 or 3 Zeds on us. You're going to earn your own luck on this server. Yes, you're going to get times where you just get completely lucky out of the blue. But if you analyse 9, 10, 11 of my best starts on DayZ Intenz, and I'm hopefully you're going to be able to do that in this series, you can always point out parts of the first hour and a half. Some of these videos might go for 2 hours. Hopefully you can see, yes, he got lucky, but also he did X, Y, Z, A, B, C, you know, list it however you want. He made multiple positive, successful and well thought out decisions that led to him surviving that first hour and a half, whatever it might be. All the while knowing I can just get clipped from the trees by another player at any time. But that can happen to anyone. The goal of this series is to see, other than being shot by another player, can we survive the first hour and a half, however long it takes for us to comfortably move inland, ideally with all our icons on our HUD, our sleep, our water, our food, our temperature, blood and health, everything in the white. Now that could change as soon as we get up to this next town. It could all go tits up, of course it could, that's DayZ. But we've given ourselves the best chance. I want to get into a building and I want to finish. There's another pumpkin there. People are really looking after us on this US server. I'll give them that. They didn't need to do that. I'm going to get up into a building, and this is what I'm going to do whenever I feel like I'm coming up to the end of the video. So this part 1, this Zvetlo edition, if you like. I want to get in here. I'm going to put the gun in my hand in case someone's been spying on us. And I want to look at this now, right? We've got off the coast. We've moved inland. We're on our way eventually to the northeast airfield, which is just over the hill. We're probably going to loot up here. There's a hunting store. There's a well. We're probably going to find more food. We're probably not going to find food poisoning medication. So the rotten food is going to probably have to stay on us until we get to northeast airfield. But we found another pumpkin. We found a blade. We've got a gun. Full mag. Lots of ammo. Bit more 9mm here. This is going to give out on us eventually. But we have got a backup weapon, the machete. We've got the stick if we're desperate. The Ruger, I usually probably wouldn't take that. I've picked it up just to show you could. We have picked up a lot of medication for a lot of good things. Unfortunately, not much food poisoning medication, but pain, colds and flus, bruising. We're in pretty good shape when it comes to early medical supplies. We've got a drinking container, which we can use to cook with on the road as well. A sewing kit. I wouldn't bother stitching up clothing like this. We're looking for better clothing. We might get some military clothing over on the airfield. We've still got a rag and a flare to make a light, to make a fire. Picked up a battery. And all in all, we're obviously going to be looking to improve our look. I mean, look at that. Disgraceful outfit. But we've got some food. We've got a weapon. We've got a melee. We've got a blade. We've got a bag. We've got gloves that are disinfected. Well, they were, but they're still going to protect our hands when we're eating. We've got a pristine stabby. So all in all, I would say that's a successful first hour. Getting a Zvetlo spawn. Getting inland, away from potential freshy idiots. We all know what DayZ goes like sometimes. And it's all about giving yourself the best possible chance now going forward of surviving and being able to go on a bit of an adventure. What happens from here on in, we don't know. That's DayZ. But we have spawned in one of the most Z-populated cities. The hardest to navigate. And I hope if you've learned nothing else from this video, I've broken down my entire thought process of what I've done, why I've made every decision, and how I haven't just spawned in, sprinted as quickly as I could to the police station to try and get a gun, go to the medical, go to the well, try and find some food, and fuck off inland. Pardon my French. That's what you might do on an official server, and you get away with it 9 times out of 10. Because if you aggro 10 zombies and you're half decent at the game, you can just trap them in a garage. Isn't going to work with this server. You've got to slow yourself down, think about every decision carefully, and hopefully you'll fall in love with it as much as I have, and you'll really enjoy having to slow yourself down, make really important decisions, take time over the decisions sometimes, particularly when it comes to inventory space. Oh my god, what do I need most? The medication, I need blades, and maybe I can't pick up that item that I would have picked up in a vanilla server. But if you've enjoyed it, you want to see more of these, you want to see Cherno, Electro, Berezino, Nizhnoy, all the lovely spawns, Solnichny. This will be a continuing series. I'll be recording every Wednesday, and I'll be uploading for a Sunday evening, British time, 5 PM, like the old Intenz videos. Consider a sub if you're not already subbed. Put in the comments what you took out of the video, if anything, what helped you the most, what you'd like to see, any questions, things I didn't cover, just put them in the comments. And definitely have a look at the description below. Get yourself in that Discord for DayZ Intenz and get studying. Pretend you're doing a bachelor's degree in medicine. You need to be learning that medical guide, or at least having it up on a second monitor or a phone or a tablet for the first 50 hours that you're on the server, maybe longer. I still don't know what all the medicines do off by heart, but I've learnt the important ones: food, medication, concussions, sepsis, pain. They're probably the 4 you want to find. You learn off by heart straight from the rip. But let's have a like, let's have a comment, maybe a subscription. And I'll see you in the next episode, where we will be starting from God knows where, because we'll be starting from scratch all over again. Thanks for checking it out though, guys. I hope to see you in the next one. Codfather out.